some technical difficulties with in the past. So, yeah, Isabel.
Hello, it's me, Isabel.
It's Isabel. Isabel's here now. Yeah, so again, sorry for all the screwing around with this in previous episodes, but hopefully it works this time so that we can actually use this for an author launch at some point. Okay, so
All right.
say goodbye,
Thank
Isabel.
you for having me.
See you later.
I bid you adieu.
Very nice. Thanks. Okay, great. So Isabel should be leaving the stream now. Take the spotlight off them. There we go. So it's back to me. Okay. So we'll check this afterwards to see if it worked. I really hope it does because this is very annoying to set up. Anyway, my name is Matt Bose, as previously mentioned, and I'm the manager of NeWest Press. We're an independent publisher located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Getting really good lighting today. But today I'm going to be taking a look at Garry Ryan's Two Blackbirds, which is the sequel to BLACKBIRDS, which I read from last week. So I've just been reading from our backlist at 1 o'clock each day to give people something else to think about over the lunch hour. And yeah, so Two Blackbirds is a historical fiction novel set during the Second World War. It's a sequel to Blackbirds, and it's about a young woman from Canada who joins the Air Transit Auxiliary, I think it is, the ATA, whose job it was in real life to shuttle planes around England and eventually Europe during the war so that male pilots could be used for combat purposes. So women were kind of the material pilots who move things around. But what this book does is has an ATA pilot get into lots of exciting dogfights that have, romantic struggles and all kinds of things happen. It's fiction, right? You can do whatever you want. So here's the back cover copy. The fires of the Second World War are beginning to burn down, but legendary Canadian aviatrix Sharon Lacey is not out of danger just yet. Complications enter the young ace's life as deep-seated racial and class prejudice, potential fifth columnists, and even her own killer code of honor threaten her hard-fought reputation, while a new and wonderful secret might also prove to be her undoing. Meanwhile, a trip across the Channel in Fortress Europe, new weapons have started rolling off Nazi production lines, and the characteristic buzz of the deadly V-1 flying bomb fills the air. In the second act of his Calgary Herald best-selling Blackbirds trilogy, Garry Ryan pits his intrepid heroine against an array of deadly new foes and challenges, proving that in war, the enemy may wear the same uniform as your own. So this came out in 2014, and yeah, I'll read some to you. Chapter 1, Tuesday, June 13th, 1944. What's that noise? Sharon jumped out of the hangar and away from the melange of oil, grease, petrol, and paint. She inhaled the fresh air, felt the sun on her face, shaded her eyes, and looked east. It sounds like an airplane, but different, she thought, as she used her free hand to pull her non-regulation ponytail over the collar of her blue battle dress jacket. Edgar, he was a bronze mountain of a man. The shovel looked like a child's beach toy in his hands. He leaned it against the wall of the hangar and looked in the direction of the noise. They stood in the mouth of the white wall of the hangar to get a better look. About 10 feet in front of her, a wrench skidded along the concrete. Goddamn British spanners are about as useless as tits on a boar. Can you hear that? Sharon looked inside at Ernie. What the hell is it? Ernie Shane stepped out of the hangar. He wore the sleeves of his dusty coveralls rolled up to reveal his Popeye arms. Ernie had a long, powerful body, short legs, and brown eyes that faced Edgar's chest whenever he looked straight ahead. There. Sharon pointed south and east. The aircraft was gray, flying at a bit over 2,000 feet. It's fast. Edgar looked over his shoulder towards London. Sounds like someone with a green apple quick step shitting into a 45-gallon drum, Ernie said. Edgar frowned. It's got an odd silhouette. It looks like the engine is mounted near the tail. Sharon shaded her blue eyes with her right hand. It looks awfully small for an airplane, Ernie said. It must be some kind of jet propulsion engine, Edgar said. Ernie nodded. I've heard of that. Never seen one, though. They walked around the other side of the hangar to keep their eyes on the aircraft. Sharon stood in between Edgar and Ernie. She was shorter than either of the men, but their posture revealed that they deferred to her. The aircraft's engine stopped and it nosed down. "Get down!" Edgar grabbed them both, pushed them to the ground, and then covered their bodies with his. "What in Christ's name are you doing?" Ernie huffed. The answer was an explosion. The ground heaved. There was a whistling sound. When they got up and brushed themselves off, there was a piece of shrapnel the size of a dinner plate stuck in the hangar door. It sizzled in the wood about 4 feet from ground level. Ernie looked at the ragged chunk of metal, then at Edgar. "How did you know?" Edgar shrugged. "It was coming from the direction of France, headed toward London. It wasn't one of ours." A reasonable conclusion. Sharon looked at the piece of shrapnel and checked to see if any of them had been wounded. "Thank you very much, Edgar." She picked the dry grass from her disheveled brown hair. Just checking hair color. Ernie slapped Edgar on the back. "I owe you one." Edgar blushed. "Let me buy you boys some lunch." This is the perfect opportunity to ask Ernie for the favor, Sharon thought. Lunch today was courtesy of the gray NAFI wagon, which supplied them with coffee, thick ham and cheese sandwiches, and tweed squares. They sat together at a table under a tree. Ernie wolfed down the first half of his sandwich. "This is a nice change. It actually tastes like meat." Edgar tucked the napkin that he kept in his back pocket into the collar of a shirt and bit into the sandwich. "The U-boats aren't sinking as many supply ships anymore, so the food's getting better." "How come you always know so much about everything?" Ernie looked sideways at Edgar. "I read, then I look for evidence to support what I read. Last month, I read an article that the Allies had begun to turn the tide in the Atlantic. That U-boats were being sunk in large numbers." Edgar held up a sandwich. "You may be holding the proof in your hand." Sharon smiled as she sandwich. "I've come to enjoy the company of men. Some of the women I work with are members of a superior class. They look down on the bastard Canadian who gives them orders. These two men don't see me that way at all." "I hope you're right." Ernie took a sip of coffee. "If I never taste mutton or bully beef again, it'll be too soon." "Now we have to wait and see if the invasion is going as well as Stars and Stripes says it is." Edgar took a delicate bite of sandwich. "Then the explosion this point could be proof things are going well, or it could mean the opposite," Sharon said. Edgar nodded. "Exactly." He glanced at Sharon with his brown eyes, then looked away. "How's Michael?" Sharon shrugged. "I don't know. Haven't seen him for 3 months. After the invasion began, I finally understood why he's been so busy. He must have been working with the French underground to prepare for the invasion. I suppose they'll be doing what they can to disrupt the Nazi supply lines." Ernie stuffed the last of his sandwich into his mouth. He looked at Edgar before he covered his mouth with his hand and turned to Sharon. "When I get to the point." Sharon smiled and set her sandwich down on the wax paper it came wrapped in. "Edgar would like to join the 332nd in Italy. He thinks that if he could be trained as an aircraft mechanic, transfer would happen." 332nd? Ernie looked for a patch of clean sleeve before he wiped his mouth. "Tuskegee Air Group, the details in Italy. It's made of people like me." A thoughtful frown formed on Ernie's face. He turned to Sharon. "You want me to train him?" Sharon nodded. "That's right. You need the help. Edgar needs the training." Ernie looked at the hangar and then at Edgar. "When do you start?" Wrinkles appeared on Edgar's forehead when he looked at Sharon. "I'll have to clear it with Edgar's CEO." Sharon picked up her sandwich. "I'll phone him right after I finish this." "Maybe not," announced a voice from behind her. She turned. Michael stood a head taller than her. He studied her with striking blue eyes, framed by strawberry blonde hair. "I hear you've had a surprise attack this morning. I thought I'd come and investigate. Apparently you've seen one of Hitler's so-called vengeance weapons." "Wonder who his target was," Edgar said. "His vengeance weapon crashed in an empty field. Apparently they have some problems to solve if they want to hit military targets. Or maybe he's declared war on cows. The only casualty was an unlucky Black Angus," Ernie said. Sharon stood next to her husband. She inhaled the scent of cigarettes and chocolate. "Is the coffee any good?" "Not bad." Ernie lifted his cup. "Sharon will get you a cup." Sharon's face turned red. He'd get his own damn coffee. She turned to her husband. "Where the hell have you been?" "Planning an invasion," Michael said. "I've been so worried. I thought you might have gone back into France." Sharon looked him over, checking for evidence of wounds. You told me not to lie to you. I couldn't very well call you up and tell you what I was up to, now could I?" Michael chuckled. "Don't laugh at me. So you're an ace. It's not as if you ever taken a risk in this war," Michael winked. Ernie lifted his chin and looked at Edgar. Edgar said, "Ah, so the rumors are facts. Exactly how many aircraft have you downed?" 9. I saw one crash with my own eyes. Michael looked at Edgar. I don't believe we've been introduced. Michael offered his hand. It was dwarfed by Edgar's. An ace. Ernie stood up and looked at Sharon. He never talked about it. He offered his hand to Michael. I'm Ernie. Michael, glad to meet you. You must know by now, the people who do the actual fighting in a war are often the least willing to talk about it. Michael put an arm around his wife's shoulder and pulled it closer. So there we go. That's the first chapter of Garry Ryan's Two Blackbirds. So if you're interested in checking this book out, I probably suggest reading the first one first, but when I didn't want to read the second one. It's available on All It Up right now, which is a Canadian distribution site. I'll put a link down below. And as well, it's also an ebook, so you can just look it up in your e-reader and get it in 2 seconds. So it's very convenient. Anyway, this is Matt Bose from NeWest Video episode 50, signing off.